castle was built in the 24th century. The construction took 12 years.
Hello there, Doomblers, and welcome to Doom the Dark Ages. Heh, get it? The ages are so dark you can't see the... Understandable. Doom the Dark Ages is the latest entry in the Divorced Angry Pet Owner series. It is set in the distant past of 1994, back when giant mechs used to fight alongside melee infantry. And the latest TikTok trend was to die of polio at age 24, which means that this game is a prequel to both 2016 and Eternal, and surely this won't cause any problems for the already messy lore of Doom. Dark Ages is also the first of the new Doom games to not include a multiplayer mode to skip over on your way to replay the campaign for the 15th time. In exchange for it, the campaign is a whole 22 levels long. The asterisk is there for visual enjoyment, not any foreshadowing. Anyways, skipping over most of the intro cutscene, which will go in the story section. The Slayer lands from space, and after 10 seconds of saying, "Ouch, ouch, my knees are killing me," off screen, the game begins. And immediately, one of the big changes is obvious. They did a little face cam thingy, like in the old games. Oh, and you have a shield. Said shield is gonna be your best friend for the entire campaign. It has 3 main uses, and a bad idea. The first use is parrying enemy projectiles or attacks. This will recharge your melee, sometimes stun the enemy, trigger one of the many abilities that go off of parry, and stop you from taking damage. The bad idea is blocking, which is what happens when you try to parry a not clearly color-coded attack. When you do this, your shield takes damage, and when it breaks, you will realize just how important it truly is. As I said, you only appreciate something when it's gone. Then I put a trademark on words so nobody could steal it. The other 2 things the shield can do are stun demons, giving you the opportunity to kill them while they scream in all chat about CC and balance. And the final one is a stupid little dash. How could it ever live up to the eternal dash? Like this. Yeah, so remember how they said you were gonna be an iron tank? What they didn't mention is that the tank was juiced up with a 500 horsepower engine. Now, to be fair, Eternal is still probably a bit faster, especially in terms of verticality, but if you want, it's totally possible to go super fast. Or you can go slow and safe. Speaking of slow, they clearly didn't want you to be able to do a 26-hit combo on a poor imp using quick switching. Because not only is the weapon swap speed fastened, now before the weapon actually switches, it has to finish its animation. And the weapon impacted the most by this is the super shotgun, which has been reloading for the entirety of this conversation. But, and you didn't hear this from me, there's a way to sort of quick switch. If you shield bash and then immediately start shooting and switching, you will be able to switch at 2016 speeds. But shh, you gotta keep it on the DL, okay? As I was saying, the weapon mods are gone, instead being replaced by having entirely different weapons for each slot, each of them having their own upgrades and cool abilities, meaning that this is probably the Doom game with the highest number of guns, if you can consider these guns. They are all very fun to use. Kinda surprisingly. Because of the fact that I can't quick switch, automatic weapons don't feel like a waste. Instead, they feel awesome. Partially because they're cool and good, partially because the sound designer created sound meth and injected it in all of the sound effects. This stuff is addictive, I tell ya. I'm only gonna talk about 2 of the weapons, the first one being the best weapon in the game, and for once, it's not the super shotgun. The rocket launcher is insanely powerful in this game, and it's all thanks to its upgrades. The first one allows you to use it as a close range weapon after parrying, Wait, what? After parrying, all the self-damage decides that you're cool and heals you instead. The second one turns your rocket into a nuclear weapon upon parrying a projectile, making it the most powerful, normal weapon the game has. Now, the other weapon I wanted to talk about is the chain shot, which is a weapon from the cosmic realm, which is a place I will talk about in the story section. Now the chain shot looks super cool, however looks can be deceiving, as this weapon is actually a piece of demolition equipment that is being mishandled. This egregious health and safety violation, combined with having to be charged and having just good damage, is why this weapon has been cast into the Shadow Realm. Now that all safety and health hazards have been dealt with, we can get back to the campaign. With the second level beaten, it's time to deal with you. There are 22 levels in the campaign. However, 3 of them are in the mech. You know, the giant mechs we saw all throughout Doom Eternal. One of them being in the Slayer's base, but we never got to pilot one. And now we finally can. Oh god, I'm gonna have to get my time machine so I can unsay that I wanted this. So, unfortunately, the mech kinda stinks. It uses the high pixel skyblock combat system of spam left click and occasionally right click, which makes you wish you were on foot almost immediately. But, look at this sick as hell dragon. Surely this won't... Yeah, the dragon is kinda boring too. The best thing it does is allow for some neat level designs, while on foot, I would skip the dragon if I could. But let's move on from the stinkies and get to the reason why people buy the game. The story. Let's do the story section. So the story begins with the Slayer under Maker mind control, being ordered around by Bishop Creed, better known for his acting work as Jabba the Hutt and extra number 42 from the Fallout TV series. Creed then gets a call from his car insurance, and so he decides to send the Slayer down to... Wait, that's the Praetor suit, isn't it? Yes, this game continues the honored tradition of screwing up the lore even more, particularly Doom 2016's lore, since in that game it stated that the Praetor suit was made for the Slayer a significant amount of time after the events of this game. And as your local lore expert, I will point out the things that seem weird but not go into much further detail to avoid inducing a coma in most of you. Anyway, in the first couple of missions, we're introduced to the cast and our main bad guy, Prince Azarak, who was chosen by the council of off-screen villains to lead Hell. And then he decided that he was totally cool and so powerful he deserved the title Prince. And to the question, why not King, he answered, because the princes are always the more beautiful ones, duh. Duke Azarak's goal is to obtain the MacGuffin, which will level him up enough to be able to do the Slayer boss fight. Even though, in this game, the Slayer is a considerably lower level than in Eternal in 2016. Which is probably because he hasn't grinded enough yet, since it is hinted that he maybe gets stronger by killing demons, but it's not very clear. Anyways, Marquis Azarak is then beaten by a flashbang while he tried to obtain the first piece of the thingy, which King Novik managed to swipe and then ran to Teroth, the safest city in the whole... Just before the siege, Creed shouts in a very audible tone that the Slayer wasn't going to be allowed to fight, and thus ended the mind control subplot. The Slayer is once again fired down from orbit, and after a chiropractic visit off-screen to help with the knee problems, the Slayer sets out to defend the city. Oh, come on! That is clearly a foul! You aren't allowed to summon a Titan in the 3rd inning, nor are they allowed to score a try from the link zone. Unfortunately, the referees were extremely biased and decided that it was legal, so the shield protecting the city was destroyed. But I mean, I just got into this pipe. How bad could things... Hell works fast! Damn! Anyway, a stinky turret section and the rest of the level later, Count Azarak obtains the first piece of the thingamabob. Fortunately, not even the Argenta know where the second piece is, so there's no way he could find it. Commander Thera then decides to go upgrade the Slayer some more, so he can go right to Viscount Azarak's castle and obliterate him. However, Creed, using the pervert cam on the Slayer's armor, notices that the second part of the thingamajig is inside of Commander Thera, who who was supposed to go on an adventure of magic and friendship to discover that the power was inside her all along, but unfortunately they had to reschedule due to poor weather, so she got stuck with this instead. Upon learning this, Creed instantly sells out and informs Baron Azarak about his discovery, which leads him to attack the central command of the Night Sentinel, thus forcing the Slayer back so he can deal with it. And after destroying the entire invading force, Lord Azarak is forced to use the big tentacle to tower nap both Thera and Creed, bringing them to the Cosmic Realm, an eldritch dimension where Knight Azarak will be able to obtain the second piece of that thing, you know? To save Thera and stop him, and maybe save Creed if it's convenient, the Slayer needs to free the old god to enter the Cosmic Realm. Since Uber costs way too much, and he needs to save up to buy his dragon a new toy and bunny ears. While freeing the old god of immense power, the Slayer finds the BFC, which stands for Ballistic Force Crossbow of course, and the name has no other interpretations. After freeing the old god and revealing it to be Cthulhu, one of the most feared gods in all the Pantheon, the Slayer attaches himself to the giant monster and arrives in the Cosmic Realm. Oh, I think I'm about to... And it's a very cool place that joins the list of things that bully Euclid and his stupid 2,500-year-old corpse. But let's skip ahead to when the Slayer arrives at the site of the ritual. As he is about to enter, he's picked up by the Old One. This is truly going to be a battle for the ages. A being of pure evil against one of pure good. A battle of gods between the god of waking night... Wait, did it just eat him? Oh, of course, this is gonna be the final boss. So this isn't the real fight, it's too early. So the Slayer has to destroy this green thing to... I don't know, maybe make him vomit or something. Did it just die? Like that? Oh man, I was hoping for a cool boss fight. Anyways, now that the extremely pathetically weak Eldritch God has been dealt with, the Slayer can save Thera. Take your time, cardio can be exhausting. After stopping at the off-screen lemonade stand, he saves... Wait, is that a jellyfish? The Slayer is hit by a wild jellyfish, and due to his allergies is rendered immobile. And this is clearly the only explanation, because a Wraith is like a C-tier god, and the Slayer is powered by the S-tier god. There probably are good explanations for why this happens, but it doesn't matter right now as Peasant Azarak absorbs the Wraith heart and becomes slightly taller. Then after some ominous and weird conversations, Slayer is imprisoned in a barrier created by the three cousins of the old god, Jerry, Barry, and Larry. To escape, the Slayer rips the Maker tether out of his armor, creating a huge explosion, and now that he is he gonna get up or... What? He died? Imps need to start using acid instead of balls of energy hotter than the sun, I guess. And then he undies in hell as a zombie and does a God of War. Now he's out of... Okay. After walking in the pool, he's out of... Wait. What's happening? Okay, I have no idea what just happened, but this is why the Codex exists. So now reborn, and after killing a couple demons, I can read up on... What? What is this? This doesn't tell me anything. That's right, the Codex in this game tells you nearly nothing useful, which leaves lore experts having to guess what is happening and why, also known as the FNAF zone. But let's move on from the lore. Now that the Slayer is back, he breaks into the Creed's ship and kills him after he tries to make the Slayer play Touhou. Then the Slayer uses King Novik's mech to reach Aunt Azarak. Eventually. And now, wait, what's... Oh, cool, he's back. Wait, I'm in the mech. Oh no. Oh no. Huh. This part had a real graphical downgrade. And after a F-tier boss fight, the old god is dead. For real. And then it's time to duel Stinkbug Azarak. And the boss fight is okay. You beat him once and then lose. Then you beat him again and lose even harder. So hard in fact that the dragon has to come in to save the Slayer. And then... You fool! Rule number 1, don't kill his pet. We are doomed! Wait, I'm not on your side. And after getting his shonen power boost, the Slayer finally beats him for real, ripping the Wraith heart out of his chest. Then he somehow scurries away after a giant explosion, so... Neutron, Azarak, and the Forgotten Character try, and then fail to defend themselves. And finally, Quark Azarak dies. Oh, I forgot about Thera, and Novik, and Valen, and his son that is there too, just so you get attached for when he dies. But, the Slayer's in hell with the Maker ship and he's hunting down some demons. Now, I haven't found the keys for my time machine, so I am going to have to guess that the DLC is gonna involve hunting down the Demonic Council? You know, those guys who are mentioned like 7 times? I say this because they don't come up ever again, so they are either dead or another lore oopsie. Okay, now that that is done, I have a guided tour of a Hebef starting in like 5 minutes, and I'm not losing my deposit again. They were very professional. Even a demonic apocalypse didn't stop them. I did have to kill an imp that bit off their arm though, so 4 stars. The game gets, I own more than one piece of Doom merchandise level bias out of 10. Now like, subscribe, and wake up. You've been in a coma for 10 years. You have to wake up and tell people to subscribe to Vinci. Wake